Alright guys, this is your boy Tacho here, and today we're playing some Fire Emblem Heroes. We're gonna do an arena run today. I am currently in tier 18, so pretty much the top tier that you can be in at the moment, and I'm gonna try my very hardest to rank up to tier 19. It's gonna be really tough though, because tier 19 is gonna pretty much be full of nothing but whales, so even if I do get to tier 19, I'm probably gonna end up ranking down and not being able to stay there too long, but I do at least want to be able to get there once just to see what it's like. So anyway, we've got a bunch of new arena maps here, and these are probably the hardest bunch of arena maps we've had since the game came out, so it's really tough and it's really competitive actually trying to get a flawless run and have absolutely no deaths this time around. So I'm gonna have to be really on my toes and step my game up to try and get a flawless run here. This map here is the Two Boats map, and this is actually probably the hardest map out of the bunch that we have, because if you end up fighting against Reinhardt on this map, you're done. Like, there's just nothing you can do about Reinhardt here, because there's just nowhere to move. On the second boat that you're standing on, there's no space to get away, so if Reinhardt breaks the crates and then starts coming at you, there's really no way you can get out of his path. So he's gonna end up hitting somebody that you don't want him to hit. Like in this case, I have Ike and Celica. Reinhardt can just run right up to them and hit them on this map, and there's nothing I can do to keep them out of harm's way. So if that happens, I'm pretty much boned. But anyway, this guy here, he didn't have too hard of a team. He didn't have a dancer, so I didn't really have too much to worry about here. He had a pretty standard team, so I was able to just go toe-to-toe with him with picking my matchups well and abusing my type advantage there. So that's the first map down, or the first fight down. This is going to be a long video though, actually. Looking back, this is probably my longest arena run ever. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I highly recommend that you stick around straight to the end though, because the final fight is really gonna blow your mind, and just how much I had to think to get out of that one scot-free. So anyway, this guy has a dancer, and he also has a brave bow Takumi, so that's pretty deadly. I'm gonna have to be very careful against that. Ideally, what I would want to do is have Celica get the first hit on Takumi so I can get the one-hit KO on him while I have Ragnarok in play. If I have Celica attack Roy here, she's gonna kill him, but then she's not gonna be at full health, and she won't be able to have the Ragnarok buff when she's fighting Takumi. So what am I gonna do here? Well, Roy is in range of Hector, and we don't want that to happen, so I'm probably gonna have Hector get the hell out of the way. Let's see how it goes. I don't quite remember every single match, how every one of them went in this game, because I just got finished recording this run and I'm pretty mind blown by what happened in the final fight. So yeah, forgive me if I don't know what I'm talking about, but anyway, I'm gonna try to get Hector out of the way. I don't know what's taking me so long to do that. It's pretty obvious. Alright, any minute now. Just checking my damage against Roy again. I was actually thinking that if I had Celica attack Roy and then had Azura dance on Celica, I could get a hit on Takumi there, but if I do that, then Celica's going to be in range of the enemy Azura, and I'm not going to be able to get her out of the way. So quite a bit going on there in my thought process. But, I mean, what the hell is taking me so long to move Hector, man? Hector does not want to take a hit from Roy. Jesus Christ, man, just move Hector already. Okay, there we go, finally. Yeah, if this was a live stream, you guys would have been shouting at me to just get Hector out of there. I don't know, sometimes I'm really slow when it comes to picking up on moves. But for these new maps, you definitely got to take your time. I would say, no matter how long it takes, just really make sure all your moves are well planned out, or else you're going to be in a bit of trouble. Okay, so Roy has finally separated himself from the group there. So I can get rid of him pretty simply. I guess we'll just have him attack Azura there. This map in particular is probably the easiest of the bunch. It's just a really wide open space and there's not too much that can go wrong. You have a lot of range to maneuver your units. Certainly nothing like that double boat map, which is a real pain in the ass actually, especially, like I said, against Reinhardt, and it's even worse if Reinhardt has a dancer behind him. But this map in particular isn't too big a deal, so I'm not too worried about any fights that take place here. Okay, so I'm gonna end my turn like that. Azura is just pleasantly walked herself into death, and all we have to deal with now is Hector and Takumi there. Takumi has drag back, so he's just gonna keep on pulling Hector back, and I'm gonna have to come up with a pretty interesting strategy to get rid of those two. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna move Celica over to where Ike and Azura are so that she can get the Hone attack buff, because I want to be able to make sure I kill Takumi in one hit after I attack him. So that's what we're gonna do. So Celica got the Hone attack buff there, and it's a good thing that I did that, because if I hadn't, then Celica was not gonna get the one-hit kill on Takumi. And now all I gotta do is just have Azura dance on Celica, and then Celica will be able to finish off Hector. Yeah, pretty simple. Alright, so that's another fight down on a pretty easy map. Hopefully I get some harder maps like the double boat map again, or the double mountain map. Actually, that's a tricky one. I gotta really talk about my strategy for approaching that map. And here we go, lo and behold, as I'm talking about the double mountain map, here we go. So this map is really tricky because if you try to go down the center, you're just pretty much walking your units into suicide. So I highly recommend not walking into the center on this map. What you want to do is lure the opponents to come to you, so you're going to want to keep your units close to the bottom and stay where the bottom mountain is. And then you'll notice that there is a clearing where you can pass through under the mountain, where that tree is over there. So if you can actually walk through there, that's not a bad idea. Okay, so the opponents are on their way. If I had gone down the center, I probably would have taken a lot of casualties to that Linda, because she's also got Azura behind her. But over here, I'm just gonna stick to the bottom like I said and make them come to me. You really don't want to go in the center on this map because it's just a giant death trap. All those defense tiles, and it's really close quarters as well, so the opponents can just bum rush your units and get some easy kills like that. Okay, so there's a really good thing on this map is that there's two blind spots on the mountain where mages will be able to attack over two spaces and hit your units. So I'm probably going to want to have Hector stand in the way of Linda there, so Linda's going to attack Hector and Hector's going to finish her off. I don't know why I moved Hector so far to the right though. I probably shouldn't have did that. I should have kept him a little closer to that spot there where Azura is standing, so that I would have been able to easily just have Hector stand there and end up taking the hit from Linda. So I'm going to have to wait an extra turn here before I can actually get into some combat. Alright, that was really pointless. I just danced on Celica for no reason. And I just rallied on Azura for no reason as well. I don't know, I do some really pointless stuff sometimes. Okay, this is a pretty good position that I'm in now. All I have to do is have Ike reposition Hector over there and let him get the one-hit kill on Linda. And then we can have Celica finish off Hector. Alright, right there, that was actually a misplay. What I should have did was, instead of having Azura walk over there, what I should have did was have her move up one space and let her dance on Hector, so that Hector would have been able to walk up one space and attack Azura. Pretty minor blind sight though, so it's not too big a deal. And now we've got Azura to take on Ryoma. I don't have Swordbreaker on Azura anymore. I've ditched it in favor of Wings of Mercy, so that she can just fly to any unit. And another good thing about Wings of Mercy is that it costs 360 skill points, so you actually get a little more mileage out of having that rather than having Swordbreaker. So it's going to help me score a little higher. Okay, so that's another fight down. Yeah, we're already 10 minutes in. It's gonna be a long one, so I don't know, guys. Go ahead and grab yourself some hot cocoa or whatever and make yourself comfortable, because we've got quite a bit more ahead to come. Alright, this map here, this is a pretty tricky map as well. As you'll notice, there's a lot of walls and there's also a lot of defense tiles. So how you choose to fight your opponent is going to be really tricky on this one. What I tend to do is just break as many walls as I can and try to keep my units in as far away from the opponents as I can at the start to see how they're going to move. So we're just going to feel them out and see what they plan to do. Alright, so Ryoma's over there. I'm going to have him attack Azura probably. And also try to keep my units out of range of all their other units. Alright, so I just repositioned Celica there so I could get her a little closer to Camilla. And I'm just going to break that wall. Probably going to end my turn right there. So that Hector, even if Azura dances on Hector, he won't be able to attack my Azura. It does suck kinda that I don't have Swordbreaker on Azura anymore, because if I had Swordbreaker, I would have been able to kill that Ryoma right there. But like I said, it is a little better to have Wings of Mercy for the additional skill points, and it's going to help me score a little higher. That's also the reason why I have Aether on Ike instead of Luna, or Bonfire mainly. Aether costs 500 skill points, so it's going to really help my score out and let me come up against some stronger opponents. Okay, so I'm just going to have Hector go over there now so that their Hector won't be able to attack my Azura. We can just end the turn there. Alright, pretty simple stuff. Just going to have Hector finish off Azura now. Okay. So far, so good. I was sweating bricks though, because I'm almost out of arena swords, and I know that as soon as I end up running out of swords, I'm going to have to start using orbs. Alright, so I chose to actually give up the battle there. I didn't want to fight that Leo, because if I end up fighting against Horse Emblem on the double boat map, I know that I'm going to be in for a really uphill battle. So I tried to save myself some despair and pick a different fight. So this one here, this one looks pretty simple. They don't have any dancers, so I'm going to have an easier time here. Yeah, actually, I don't know if it's going to be easier for your team, but when it comes to my team, because I have 2 red units, I just have to try my hardest not to get matched up against Reinhardt, especially on the boat map, because then I'm going to lose somebody no matter what I try to do. So I would actually recommend, if you're having trouble with Reinhardt, then anytime it looks like you're going to fight against a Horse Emblem team, I would say just surrender the fight and pick a different team to save yourself some grief. Arya doesn't have an assist skill, which is kind of interesting. I guess that's a little better on defense actually, because the CPU doesn't really know how to use assists that well. Like if they have rally skills, it's really easy to predict what they're going to do. So it looks like this guy run here. Alright, so it looks like this guy here has Horse Emblem, and I'm going to try to avoid fighting Reinhardt on the boat map as often as I can. So we're going to just fight this. The most prominent killer in the arena. If you're not paying attention, you will get killed by Wings of Mercy. And that's probably like the worst way to lose a run. Alright, so this is the final fight. I actually gave up there fighting that Linda because I wanted to try to get an opponent with a little bit higher of a score. So we got this Naui. I'm going to fight her. And this fight here, this was like the craziest fight ever, man. I couldn't believe I pulled this off. But anyway, here we go. I'm just going to put Hector over there where all the blue units are, and have Azura over there where all the red units are. Okay, so I decided to put Hector over there, I guess. Just get him a little bit closer to being able to attack the blue units. Alright, so this Staria is actually the most threatening thing that they have on the team. So my first priority is going to be finding a way to get rid of Daria there without having her attack anybody. It's going to be really tricky though, especially since they have Ninian there to effectively double Daria's range if she gets the dance on her. I'm just glad I had to fight this team on this map though, because this is such an easy map compared to the other ones. I didn't get the other wide open map though, so I didn't get to showcase that one, but that's a pretty easy one as well. It's basically just a wide open map, and there's a couple of forest areas, and it's like a big square. Pretty simple one to maneuver on. Pretty similar to this one here. But definitely the two maps you're going to want to watch out for on this rotation are the two boats map and the double mountain map. Okay, so Daria is over there now. I can actually get the kill on her right away with Azura. If I do that, though, Azura's gonna get swarmed by all their other guys, so I don't know if I want to do that just yet. I can't let Tharya have that extra move, though, with the Dancer, because that could really mess me up. So I guess I just decided to go ahead and kill Tharya right away. Now this is where things get tricky, because if I just leave Azura there, she's gonna get destroyed by all those units. She's gonna get attacked at least 2 times. So I'm gonna put Hector over there. It's unfortunate, but Ike is a little too far away to get over to Azura and use reposition to get her out of the way. So what am I going to do here? This is a really tricky move. Comment down below, guys, actually, what you would do in this situation if you could find a way to get out of here without losing a unit. No matter what, though, I absolutely can't leave Azura over there or else she's going to die. So what I'm thinking of doing is having Celica go next to Hector and let her rally on Azura. That way Azura would only get attacked by 1 unit max, and also Celica is going to get attacked by 1 unit max. But I was really worried that if I put Celica down there, she was going to die in 1 hit from Ninian. The most important thing to note, though, is that Naui is not going to be the one to attack Celica if I put her there. Mainly because the CPU doesn't take any priority in rearranging their units and getting better matchups. So if they have Ninian right in front of my Celica, they're going to have Ninian be the one to attack Celica instead of Naui. Even though Naui is probably going to be able to kill Celica in 1 hit, and Ninian probably won't. So you got to really just take every single thing into account and make sure you're making the right move every time. As long as you know how the CPU works, it's not too hard, but even then, it can still be really tricky sometimes. So yeah, I'm really struggling on this move, but I decided to do it in the end, and this is the end result. Damn. Celica just survived with literally 1 health, man. Crazy, crazy. Can't believe I actually got away with that. That was the only move I had, though. If I didn't do that, like I said, Azura would have been hit 2 times and she would have died. So I absolutely had to do that. So from here, what am I going to do to get my units out of the way? Celica and Azura have pretty much had it. They don't have any health left, and they're not going to be able to fight anymore, or at least take any hits anymore. So I got to really get them out of the way. Celica's pretty easy because Hector is blocking that choke point, and Ike is out of range of Hector, so Hector's going to end up killing both of those dragons. But I still have to get Azura. Actually what I think I was going to do. I ended up moving Hector up 1 space and then moving Celica over to Ike to have Azura fly in front of Celica and let her attack Ike there. And plus Azura's got her skill ready, Iceberg, so she's going to be able to get the 1-hit kill on Ike. But it looked like Celica was like, nope, I can get the 1-hit kill. So I decided to just let Celica take the glory there. And it took me a long time to summon that Celica there. It took me 840 orbs basically to get Celica. So I made her put in her work and make her pull her own weight there. But anyway, I was very pleased with that run. 4,868. The highest score I've gotten ever since the game came out. Really pleased with that, and it looks like I might be able to rank up to tier 19, so I'm hoping that's going to be the case. I got a bunch of defense wins. It's really easy to get defense wins on this round because of how hard the maps are. But anyway, guys, this is your boy Tacho signing out. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I know it was a little longer than usual, but it was a really fun run. So hope you enjoyed it, guys. And as always, take care. Cheers. Have a great day, and I hope to see you again soon.